So my top 5 defenses in the NFL. So I got a few honorable mentions. The Saints, my first honorable, and these are the honorable mentions. They're no particular order. They're just all honorable mentions. But the Saints, like again, we've already talked about them. Dennis Allen, year in year out, not a very good head coach, but he produces really good defenses. They got Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, Tyrann Mathieu, Marcus May, Marshawn Lattimore's coming back. I think that defense is going to be full fire. The Ravens, another honorable mention. They lost Calais Campbell. They don't really have a pass rush at all, but they have arguably the best secondary in the league. They added Roquan to the linebacker core. Steelers, pretty much because of T.J. Watt. The stats prove when T.J. Watt's in, they're a top defense. And then the Commanders is another honorable mention. I mean, the D-line's nasty. If Chase Young could be even 80% of what we saw as a rookie year, I mean, he's another Pro Bowl guy to add on that pass rush group. But so my top 5 defense in the NFL goes as follows. Number 5, I have the Patriots. Patriots kind of a safe pick. Year in, year out, Bill Belichick. He doesn't have the best personnel around him, but he produces good defenses no matter who he has. Matthew Judon was a good player before he got there, turned into a great player, defensive player of the year. Yeah, exactly. Their biggest weakness was cornerback. They added arguably the best cornerback in the draft, to Christian Gonzalez. Jack Jones, Marcus Jones, 2 young cornerbacks they had last year, only going to get better. A bunch of just not great, but solid guys on their defense. They play great together. And Bill Belichick. Belichick gets them in the top 5. And number 4, I have the Jets. The Jets, this defense was one of the worst defenses before they drafted Sauce Gardner. They bring in Sauce Gardner. All of a sudden, he looks like arguably the best cornerback in all of football. We see Quinnen Williams turn into this draft billing and be a defensive player of the year candidate. Robert Saleh, what they brought him in for, it's all happening now. A great defensive mind. The Jets defense is young and upcoming. They added Will McDonald in the draft. I think they're only going to get better too. And then I feel like the top 3 is kind of solidified. But at number 3, I have the Eagles. So the Eagles, for them to go out and lose Javon Hargrave, Kaiser White, T.J. Edwards, and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and then replace them with Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith in the draft is pretty remarkable, especially considering their cap and all they have. I mean, they have the deepest D-line group in the league with Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Josh Sweat, Hassan Reddick. I question their linebacking core. Nakobe Dean's now leading that. He was great at Georgia. He didn't play much last year, though. They have one of the best cornerback duos in the league with Slay and Bradbury. Their safeties now are pretty weak, though, after losing C.J. Gardner-Johnson. At 2, I have the Dallas Cowboys. Have arguably the best defender in the league in Micah Parsons. They go and add Stephon Gilmore, who is still a Pro Bowl level corner. I think Diggs Gilmore might be at the end of the year the best cornerback duo in the league. And what I love, too, is that now for Trayvon, what he does best is create takeaways and get picks. You can throw Stephon on the other team's number 1 now, and you can let Trayvon kind of play that rover and go create chaos and get turnovers. They have a young, athletic linebacker group, kind of unproven, but a lot of upside there. And then if Mozzie Smith is good inside, that's just another plus. You have D-Law on the other edge. So D-Law, he's not as great of a pass rusher as he once was. He's still one of the best run defenders in the league, though. And then at 1, I have the Niners. The best front 7 in the NFL last year added Javon Hargrave, who's one of the nastiest interior D-lines in the league. I love Micah, but I think Nick Bosa is the best defensive player in the whole league.
What?
And then you look at Nick Bosa, Hargrave, Eric Armstead, Javon Kinlaw, Fred Warner, best linebacker in the league. And then for shits and gigs, you throw in All-Pro and Talanoa Hufanga at safety. They did lose D'Amico Ryans, but the guy behind him, I don't know who he was, but he's a D'Amico Ryans guy, I'm assuming. So that
who's a Bob Saleh guy.
Yeah, so that's my top 5.
I got no problems.
I really bounced. When I initially made this, I had the Eagles at 1 at first. But my thing with the Eagles versus the Cowboys and Niners is the Eagles don't – Hassan Reddick's great. He's probably their best defender. But they don't have a guy that can take over like Micah or Bosa can.
We saw the Eagles struggle last year, too, against top offenses. Cowboys they struggled against Packers. They struggled against Jordan Love, actually.
Yeah. And that was my whole – and I feel like the top – you could probably make an argument for the Jets to be in the top 3. I just don't think the Jets have as much firepower as the Cowboys, Eagles, and Niners. And then with the Eagles lost Gannon. He may not be a big factor, but that's still a factor there. The Cowboys have Dan Quinn, one of the best defensive minds in the league. But
our Cowboys secondary is loaded too.
And the Cowboys, and that's my thing too. Like yes, the Cowboys have Micah. The Eagles don't have a Micah. And I like the Cowboys linebacker group more than the Eagles. I mean,
Yeah.
T.J. Edwards and Kaiser White, they were both good linebackers for him.
Yeah.
Now, they have – now, Kobe Dean is their number one linebacker now. And the guy's barely played in the NFL.
Yeah.
Gardner Johnson was great for him last year. Now they have 2 unproven safeties as well. Their corners are still great.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the Cowboys, I know I'm getting stability
Yep.
with Donovan Wilson and Malik Hooker and
Javon Kearse.
Javon Kearse.
Yep.
And then, obviously, Trayvon and Gill. I think Trayvon Gilmore is probably the best cornerback duo in the league.
Yeah.
So,
And then Micah, D-Law, Mozzie Smith.
Yeah.
I
If
mean,
the Jets just had if they had a go-to edge rusher, I think that would
Yeah,
that
they
could
would
put them
be-
over the top.
well, because they'd have the best corner, arguably the best D tackle, and then they'd have a top pass
Yeah.
rusher.
They were the
So
Jets,
they
they're-
would be.
They're kind of a two-headed monster with Quinnen and
Yeah.
Sauce.
Yeah.
But, I mean, obviously, Saleh did something right to where all these guys play together really well. And they're,
Yeah.
they're very young, too. So
Who's that second corner they have?
Oh, that guy is good. I can't remember.
What's his
Reed?
name?
Is
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
DJ Reed?
He's good.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
really
he's
They
good,
signed him
too.
last year. He was really
Yeah.
good. And then the night for my thing with the Niners, like the fact they had the best front seven,
Yeah.
and then they add Hargrave. Like,
Yeah.
that just doesn't even really seem fair.
I mean, you
honestly.
saw what they did to the Cowboy offense.
Yeah.
I mean, we couldn't do shit against them in the playoffs,
Mhm.
and that was Kellen Moore dialing everything he had up.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Dak shit the bed a couple times, but I mean, they locked us down. Like,
Yeah.
we couldn't do anything.
I mean, the
against
Niners
them.
D line is so I mean, the Niners could literally have. Who's a terrible quarterback? I mean, they could
Eli
have
Apple.
a quarterback.
Oh, quarterback
They could have.
Trey Lance.
They could have been. I think they could have been DiNucci at quarterback and still win 6 or 7 games because of their defensive line. I mean, the Niners, if they're going against a below average to bad offensive line,
It's a
that
train
D line's
wreck.
going to dominate every game for
It's
them.
gonna
That
maul 'em.
D
Train
line
wreck.
is so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. So
Yeah.